Family Heritage Alliance Action welcomes you to tonight's Rapid City Area Municipal Candidate Forum. My name is Dale Barcher, and I currently serve on the staff with the Family Heritage Alliance Action. We are a Christian conservative public policy ministry here in South Dakota with offices in Rapid City and Sioux Falls. We are committed to championing those values that we cherish: faith, family, and freedom across our great state. Our vision is very, very clear. We would that South Dakota be a state where God is honored, religious freedom flourishes, families thrive, and life is cherished. You may check us out more thoroughly by going to our website at fhaaction.org. That's fhaaction.org. He comes to tonight's forum with a race that is uncontested for Rapid City Mayor. Would you please join me in welcoming to the stage our Mayor, Rapid City Mayor, Steve Ellender.
And thank goodness. I would like to have a prepared statement. Dale told me I have 2 minutes and then I have to get off the stage. I would like to thank my opponent tonight for not showing up. But seriously, I believe our goal as elected officials should be to recruit good people to run for public office. We can't do this by simply chastising people for not getting involved or by urging the citizenry to uphold their part of the deal, that is democracy. We must attract candidates by our example. We must make this government and every other citizen government in America attractive to candidates by being more professional, more competent, and more in tune with the needs of the people we serve. We must emphasize service of others, not ourselves. Sure, it's idealistic, but so's the American dream. Moreover, our goal should be to recruit a greater portion of the registered voters to exercise their right to vote. Besides salvation, I'm not sure there's a more valuable gift than democracy. People should vote for the same reason people should run for public office. Not because they're against something, but because they're for something. All candidates should be able to find common goals in public safety, adequate infrastructure, fiscal responsibility, inclusive and effective policies, and overall service to the community. Here's my favorite thing about city government. No parties, nonpartisan. That means we have no predetermined agendas that make us divided. No platform from which to pound our chest in the name of politics, only facing the issues as a community. We're watching our parties and the attraction to the parties divide our state and our nation, but locally we only need focus on the issues at hand. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for participating in the electoral process. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, thank you for being on time. Appreciate that more than you know. Ladies and gentlemen, we would now like to welcome to the stage 10 candidates running for City Council here in Rapid City. So will you give them a warm welcome as they make their way to the stage tonight? And as they come and they are seated here on the stage, let me share with you just a few items that may be of interest to you. Election day is rapidly approaching. Will be on June the 6th this year. We want you to know that you may register to vote. On May 22nd is the last day to register to vote for the June 6th election. We want to encourage you to be informed about your vote, to pray about your vote, to vote and vote early if you would like. Early voting begins on May 22nd. We want to encourage you to invite a friend to come vote as well. And so we might be able to raise that percentage of those who vote in this municipal election on Tuesday, June 6th. And now let's take a moment to review a moderator's ground rules. First and foremost, candidates listening, everybody's listening. First and foremost, decorum will rule the evening. Audience, we would ask that you simply hold your applause to appropriate times. Remember that when you applaud a candidate in the middle of their 2 minutes, that you take time away from them. So you may hold that applause. We'd appreciate it. Candidate notes are allowed in the podium. Incumbents will go first out of respect for their office. Otherwise, we'll begin alphabetically. Our timekeeper is Norman Woods. Norman is on staff with the Family Heritage Alliance. He will give the speakers a green light, then a 30-second yellow, and then red for stop. Okay. And so would you please welcome Norman Woods? He's got a tough job up here up front. So we are going to begin with our Rapid City Common Council candidates from Ward 1. We have 2 of them. We have Becky Drury and we have Vince Vidal. So let's begin with Becky. Becky, if you'll come to the microphone, please, for opening statements. And Becky, you have 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Becky Drury, and I love Rapid City. I love Rapid City for a lot of reasons. We sit right on the cusp of the beautiful, beautiful Black Hills. Most towns in the United States would just die to live here. But the other thing I love are my 4 grandchildren. They are so important to me, and for all kinds of reasons. My grandson is at the ball field tonight, and there's nothing better than hearing that crack of the bat when he hits it out into the outfield. And that's why I think our green spaces in Rapid City are vital. They're great for our kids. They're great for adults. I love the bike path. I love to go up on M Hill, and I love Skyline Drive. That is something that we need to keep in Rapid City. My oldest granddaughter is a brainiac. I tell you, she's in kindergarten, but she could be in 2nd grade because she knows more than is probably good for her. And that's another reason I think we need to keep the plan on 5th vital. We need to connect those smart kids that are going to the School of Mines with our downtown. That needs to be one of the glues in our community to keep those vibrant, intelligent people here and engaged in our community. They come from all over the world, and they need a community to belong to it. And what a better one than Rapid City. My 2nd oldest granddaughter is a ballet girl and drama, and that's why I think we need to work on the Civic Center, and we need to keep it part of our downtown, part of our economy, so the rest of Rapid City can thrive. Now, my youngest granddaughter is 3, and at 3, compared to her 5-year-old sister, at the same time, she's 10 pounds heavier and 4 inches taller. So that girl can do anything she wants, and that's why I want Rapid City to continue to grow to be a vital city. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. And now come to the podium, we have Vince Vidal. And by the way, I do have a gavel, and I really want to use it. So, Vince, if you'll go over. Okay, it could happen. Take that podium.
Thank you, Dale, and thank you, Family Heritage Alliance. I wanted to take that podium to keep him away from the gavel, but he told me to take this podium. So, my name is Vince Vidal. I'm a candidate for Rapid City City Council, Ward 1. I was born and raised in San Antonio, Texas, and I moved to Rapid City, South Dakota in 1995. And I would have got here sooner, but I spent the previous 20 years serving our country in the United States Navy. I retired as a Chief Petty Officer, and one of the most proudest moments of my life was when I did become a Chief Petty Officer. I am the son of a city clerk. I'm the grandson of a city truck driver. And now I'm the father, proud father, of a Rapid City firefighter paramedic. I love this community so much that my son, who was a firefighter paramedic out in Indianapolis in a place called Shelbyville, I talked him into coming here, and he made it. So, and actually, it was a funny story because he called me up one day and he goes, "Hey, Dad, what do you think about me coming out here to Rapid City?" And I go, "Well, I thought you wanted to be a firefighter paramedic, and don't you love your job?" And he goes, "Yeah, I do. I love it. But Rapid City's hiring." So one of the things that the City Council did and will continue to do as long as I'm there is take care of your safety. And I mean that. Whether it's law enforcement or it's public safety, firefighting, paramedic, I want to make sure I'm there to take care of that. The other thing that has inspired me was one of my first jobs when I got here to Rapid City was I was a reporter for a television station. And as a reporter, I got assigned to cover the City Council. That was an assignment. That was something I had to do. But I fell in love with it. I followed it ever since. I follow it to this day because, as the mayor pointed out, it is a job that we should all respect. It is a job that we could all aspire to. And I hope that I have the opportunity to serve you as I've served our country, as I've served in other positions. So, thank you.
Vince, you can stay right there. Stay right there. Thank you, Vince. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a couple questions we'd like to ask, and you'll see the first question on the screen. The first question is, where do you look for wisdom and guidance in making the difficult decisions? Vince, 2 minutes.
You know, I was here in 2014, and I was running for city council then, and obviously I didn't make it. But one of the things I pointed out then is that I believe there's a philosopher that I follow, and I think he offers good guidance, and that philosopher is Jesus Christ. But I say that I was born and raised a Catholic. My parents introduced me to the Catholic religion, and of course I followed it ever since. And when I say that, it does bring me wisdom in the thoughts and the expressions that are taught in the Bible, but there's no substitute for practical experience. I have a 42-year work experience, and part of that work experience was I had to take an oath to join the Navy, every time I re-enlisted in the Navy. And I take those oaths seriously, and sometimes I find the wisdom in those oaths and what I promise to protect and defend. And I mean that with every fiber of my being.
Thank you. Let's thank Vince. And now Becky, same question, 2 minutes.
I'm a member of Parkview Evangelical Church, and I've probably been a member of more evangelical churches than anyone here. I grew up in Milesville, Evangelical Church. Went to high school in Phillip, Evangelical Church. Went to Wall to live, Evangelical Church, and I ended up in an Evangelical Church. But my true compass is like Vince. It's God and Jesus. My verse is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. I've been praying every day since I announced my candidacy. God, what do you want me to do today? And God, help me to stand for you. And that's what I will do as your representative on the council. You know, when Joshua succeeded Moses, he gave him some good advice. He said, "The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged." I am not afraid. I am not discouraged. I believe in my Savior.
Thank you. Thank you. And now question number 2 will begin with Becky. Question number 2 is simply this and found on the screen. What issue do you feel most passionate about and why? How would you address this issue in the next 3 years? Becky.
The issue that I'm most passionate about is are homeless people in Rapid City. I believe that collective impact is a good long-term solution to that. The reason being is I was at the city council meeting the night the business people came forward with their concerns. And I've been going to the city council meetings for months, trying to get myself up to speed to serve you. And out of that comes a concern, not just for us as residents, but it comes for a concern for everyone. With the collective impact moving towards that long-term solution of finding help for people, finding them places to lock into, where they belong, what will work, what won't work, I think we're going to make great strides in South Dakota. I think we're going to make great strides in Rapid City, but we're going to be a role model for this part of the nation on how we deal with it, because we're not the only city that has this problem. There are 7 Indian reservations in Rapid City, or in South Dakota. It's all over our state, Montana, North Dakota. It's not just us. I also think that when we look out at people, we really need to just treat people with dignity and respect. That's how I would like to be treated, and that's how I think we should treat other people, no matter who they are, or no matter where they live.
Thank you. And now Vince, same question.
What issue do I feel the most passionate about? I was at the city council meeting yesterday, and in all fairness to Charity and Jason and Lisa, who are here tonight, and anybody else from the city council who I didn't mention, I was watching Amanda Scott do something that I really appreciated. And what I'm passionate about is watching those nickels and dimes. I mean every penny. Currently, I'm an auditor with the United States Air Force. I watch those nickels and dimes that come in for all the travel around the world. And I want to make sure that I do that too. I want to make sure that I question every little penny that's being spent, every bit of that money that is yours. I want to take real good care of it. I'm very passionate about protecting it now and in the future. I mean, there's many other things that we can be passionate about, and I'd love to tackle them all the same way. But if I wanted to pick one, and I promise you I'll do it, I will watch those nickels and dimes, and I'll make sure that we audit everything that we do.
And now for a closing comment, 1 minute.
Oh, okay. I opened up by talking about my father, grandfather, and my son, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention the other members of my family who motivate me, who I never want to let down. My wife, Peggy. We have 3 sons, and I mentioned one already, Lee, as well as Aaron and Matthew. And Matthew's a bit of a thespian. He's actually, if you're available, let me put a plug in real quick, like at Central High School, The Wizard of Oz. So it's going to be a great show. And of course, our 2 daughter-in-laws, my daughter, our daughter, Monique, and our 3 grandchildren, and 1 on the way. So I want to make sure that I mention all of those, because they are really why I want to do this, what motivates me. So thank you. And if you're from Ward 1, please vote for me.
And now Becky, closing statement, 1 minute.
Again, I love Rapid City, and so do you, or you wouldn't be here tonight and being concerned and want to know who we are up here and who will represent you in the next election. I serve currently as the chair of the library board. I'm a member of Parkview Every Church. I've been a part of Leadership Rapid City. I've served on the local board of the American Federation of Advertising. I've been an avid Toastmaster. My husband and I are retired. We can live anywhere in the United States, but we choose here. And one of the reasons we choose here is because our family is here. Most importantly, those 4 grandchildren that I love so much. But let's not think that Rapid City's lacking anything. We should open the door every morning and look out at that beautiful Black Hills and think, I am blessed to live here. Vote for Becky Drury, June 6th.
Thank you, Becky. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Ward 2, Alderman Richie Northrup, Charles Henry, and Daniel Peterson. We're going to begin with Richie Northrup, our alderman. Opening statement in 2 minutes. Richie.
Thank you, Dale. My name is Richie Nordstrom, City Council member and also City Council candidate for Ward 2, but number 1 in everybody's hearts. So I appreciate everyone's coming in tonight and listening to the wisdom that we've collected on tonight's forum. A little bit about me is that I grew up in eastern South Dakota, was a dairy farmer, born and raised, graduated, then went into the military, the Navy version of it, and joined up with a group called the Amphibious Construction Battalion, better known as the Seabees. And another eventful thing, we stationed in Vietnam, by the way, and then I was also back and forth between Yokosuka, Japan. Another fun thing that I did while I was in the Navy was we picked up Apollo 14 from the South Pacific. And in the Navy, that's a big deal going across the equator. When I came back here to South Dakota, I eventually wound up back here in Rapid City, South Dakota. Went to work for the city, there for about 30 years, retired. Was very fortunate, got lucky, and got elected to the city council in 2011. At that time, my issues were fixing potholes. And obviously, watching, as was stated here earlier, a lot of things we've been watching is the nickels and dimes and the taxpayer funding that makes this city grow and go. Another area of the interest for me that just came up within the last few years, for me, I started off with substandard housing, which has grown into now we need more affordable housing. Another area of interest for me is in the area of what we call public-private partnerships. A lot of folks in the public know them as TIFs. A very good, useful tool, but we need to look at using those tools a little bit better and raising the bar on what I call the public-private partnerships, or P3s. I see my time is up, so I will yield.
And next we have Charles Henry for 2 minutes.
You tell me to go at it, but I don't know what's going to happen. My name is Charles Henry. I go by Chuck. I graduated from Central High School, class of '81. Attended a little bit of National College. I'm an American Red Cross volunteer. I'm the logistics leader for them. I'm also part of the CERT program, which is a community emergency response team. They're looking for a lot of people to train for the county. It's a really fun whole month deal. Also, American Red Cross is always looking for volunteers. In 2012, I became Citizen of the Month for Rapid City. I am part of the governor's, I was appointed by the governor to the Development Disability Council. I was also, we have an advocacy group that's just started Rapid City years ago, and I was part of that, getting that started, and was part a state coordinator for that. This is the first time for me doing it. Right now I'm an advocate specialist for Black Hills Works, and that's about it. Thank you.
And opening statement from Daniel Peterson. Daniel.
Hello, my name is Daniel Peterson. I'm running for City Council in Ward 2. I'm originally from Rapid City, and I've lived here most of my life. when I graduated from the School of Mines with my engineering degree, I chose to stay here rather than leave for larger cities and more opportunity. I made that choice because I loved the city, and I wanted to build my family and make opportunity for other people here. Staying has been a long, hard road because there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity in technology here. But I'm committed to increasing that, and I have seen it steadily grow over time. In the course of my 17-year career working in software development as well as being an entrepreneur, I have worked for a number of different companies and been a part of growing Rapid City's economy. In that time, I have been blessed to be married to a beautiful wife and have 4 children. And that family has made my goals, the original goals, all the more important to me. My children want to stay, and I want to make that happen. Recently, in this past year, I was blessed to actually be nominated onto the board of CASA, which represents the interests of abused and neglected children in our community, in our courts. This cause is very dear to me because I faced similar issues when I was a young child. And being able to be a part of the solution to that problem has meant a lot to me. As I said before, the reason that I'm running for City Council is creating opportunity and prosperity. Our state's investments in our colleges are strategic investments meant to yield more talent and to move the economy forward, both locally and nationally. But that investment cannot be fully realized unless we actually retain those people here. And that is one thing that I would like to focus on City Council, is attracting and growing more technology businesses to grow our economy and provide better prosperity for all of us. Thank you.
Now, Charles Henry will be leading off our first question for tonight for these candidates. Where do you look for wisdom and guidance in making the difficult decisions?
Good question. I'm a Christian, born again Christian. I always look to the Lord for answers and anything I need to make decisions on, which is also I look in the Bible for where it matches, because the Bible's a life instruction book for us that was written to get us through the hard times and that. And I believe God is always in front of any decisions. Thank you.
Now, Daniel Peterson, same question, 2 minutes.
Well, here goes the hard question. Unlike some of the others up here, I am not a Christian. I am a Buddhist. And I have found great wisdom in the teachings of Buddha. Teachings that talk about generosity, altruism, patience, ethical self-discipline, and self-mastery. I look to these teachings every day. I live my faith every day. And ultimately, doing so has made me a better person.
Same question, Richie Nordstrom.
Thank you, Dale. Before I get started, I just want to give a shout out to all my friends up in Spearfish, Belfouche, and Sturgis. I forgot to do that a little bit earlier. So I appreciate the question. To start with, it has to do with who do you look for, what do you look for in wisdom and guidance? Besides of all the traditional guidance and wisdom, everyone looks to their higher power, and I'm grateful that Daniel came forward and told us about where he gets his spiritual influence from and guidance. I too am a member of Fountain Springs Christian Church. We just opened up an East Side church, and so I have a pretty good relationship with our pastor. But also, the people within the city of Rapid City are my guidance, my wisdom. And I don't mean that just to say that, but I get to ride along with different groups, different people. Give you a good example is the police department, the fire department. I also ride along with the people that work the real dirty jobs within the city of Rapid City, because I used to get my hands dirty as well. So those are the people that give me the guidance, the wisdom that I need to conduct my everyday job with the city of Rapid City as a council member. The most important thing that I really like, what I really like to do with the city of Rapid City, being a council member, is trying to get to visit with all my neighbors, all the people that are movers and shakers within the city of Rapid City. All the committees and commissions that I belong to are a great inspiration for me. They're the people that give me the inspiration to continue on with what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do. Because the most important thing for me is trying to help out the citizens of Rapid City for a good quality life. Thank you.
Thank you, Richie. Our second question, Daniel, we're going to ask you to begin. Second question is simply this: what 3 city issues are most important to you, and how do you purpose to deal with them? Daniel.
Well, I think the first one is economic development. Growing, attracting new businesses, growing organically, using the School of Mines and other colleges. I think one way to accomplish that is to engage further with the School of Mines and with external technology companies and bring them here. Sioux Falls has done this to great success. Unfortunately, it also means that pretty much every technology company that comes to South Dakota goes to Sioux Falls. Obviously, we need to get a piece of that pie. Number 2 would be infrastructure. You can't have economic development unless you have good infrastructure. Our roads need fixing, and there are better technologies out there for being able to fix them more efficiently in a more cost-effective manner. And then the third one would be really dealing with the meth addiction. This has been a plague on our city and, in fact, the entire country. We need to address it, and it needs to be addressed now. Doing so requires that we make it much more difficult for drug dealers to get a hold of the materials necessary to create meth and to have proper programs to get people off of meth. Part of the reason that I would like to also engage in further economic development is because it stands at the cornerstone of many of the other social problems we deal with. Many of them are caused by a lack of economic opportunity, and improving that economic opportunity will in fact improve the other conditions as well.
And now Richie. Please.
The 3 most important issues for me in the city of Rapid City as a council member and also as a candidate. I've been trying to fix potholes for the last 6 years, and I think we're starting to make some ground on it. We'll be having some, and I don't mean that, what's it called? We're making some ground. We're moving ahead. So it looks like we're making progress in that area. We'll be having some more road data coming out in the near future, so stay tuned. It feels good that we're able to put roughly $20 million into our infrastructure. The second most important issue for me is affordable housing within the city of Rapid City. I've been looking to staff for how to do that, what they've got for ideas, and there's a lot of items that are in the pipeline, is what I call it. We've got several TIF items that might be coming forward here to us to see that pretty soon. There's 3 projects that are being underway, and they're just going through all the paperwork that has to be done, and take into account all of the check boxes they have to do for that. Third issue for me is, as I stated earlier, is the public-private partnerships. Again, raising the bar on that. What I mean by that is we're doing a lot of development on the outer edges of the city of Rapid City. Now we need to look at doing it on what I call the infill or the green fields. Some people call it brownfields. We need to do some more of that on the inside of Rapid City because it's getting very expensive to do the infrastructure once we got it in place and then going outside towards the edges of city limits. So those are my top 3 priorities. Got lots more, but I see my time is coming to an end. So again, I yield.
Okay, thank you. And Charles? And same question, Charles Henry.
Okay, like I mentioned before, I'm advocate for people with disabilities. I feel like they're getting swept up underneath the rug. Just look at the Civic Center. Only thing in the Civic Center that's not ADA compliant is the arena. But when August comes up this year, it's either something's got to be done, or it's going to be closed, need to be closed down, or the city will start paying daily fines. My other situation is I've driven the roads in my ward too, and they are bad. Some of them are halfway done. They need to be completely done, not halfway. And that's about it. Thank you.
And now for closing statements, we'll begin with Daniel Peterson. 1 minute.
We have a great city, but it has issues that cause suffering, such as poverty, homelessness, and addiction to meth. These issues must be faced with fearless perseverance that selflessly strives for the benefit of all of us. It requires resourcefulness and determination to seek out pragmatic solutions and having the resolve to put them in action. The values that underlie my moral compass demand that I have the courage to make the suffering caused by these issues my personal responsibility and to do something about them. Thank you.
And now Richie Nordstrom. Closing statement, 1 minute.
Thank you, Dale. And thank you for everyone that's involved with Family Heritage Alliance, and thank you for the large audience that I'm seeing here tonight. Again, my name is Richie Nordstrom, City Council member and your City Council candidate for Ward 2, again, #1 in everybody's hearts. Thank you. I just made that up today. The most important thing is June 6th is the election, but you can also go vote early after May 22nd, on and after May 22nd at the county administration building. I'm so used to seeing the county courthouse, now it's changed, so I'm still fumbling through that part. Again, the most important issues for me are fixing the potholes, infrastructure, affordable housing, taking care of the people that need assistance, and then what we can do for public-private partnerships. June 6th. Thank you.
And lastly, closing statement, Charles Henry. 1 minute.
I would like to thank the Family Heritage Alliance for inviting me. And one part of my campaign is registering people for vote. If you need to be registered, just see me back up by my stuff on the table. And I want to be on the city council, get change made. I want to see something start with the Civic Center Arena, so we don't have to start paying fines on it or close it down, which was going to cause a lot of problems with bringing money into the city and that through the Civic Center. And I'm tired of seeing people like people with disabilities swept underneath the rug. Thank you.
Will you join me in thanking those candidates from Ward 2 that we've just heard from? Ward 3 candidate is Chad Lewis, and Chad Lewis is not here this evening. He is running uncontested, so Chad has a seat back on the City Council. Ward 4, we come to Alderman John Roberts and Helen Usera. And we begin with John Roberts with an opening statement. 2 minutes, John.
Thank you, Dale, and thank you to the Family Heritage Alliance. I enjoy this forum every couple of years. I've been to it a few times. I am John Roberts. I'm the current Ward 4 City Councilman. I am running for my 4th term. Any of you that know me know that I'm a very outspoken council person. I believe that we as citizens should be part of our government. I talk to a lot of my constituents daily, and you know, one of the things that I hear constantly is, what are we going to do about our infrastructure? That's what I always hear. What are we going to do about our infrastructure? Well, on the 6 years I've been on the council, we've done some good things, but we have a lot more to do. And you know, one of the things that worries me coming into this next election, and I hope I get reelected, is we're down on sales tax. So we're going to have a very challenging budget come next August, September, whenever we get it this year. And I think that, you know, we're going to need people that can make those tough decisions on the city council. You know, we have to, when we're on the council, realize it's your money, not ours. So we have to fight for you. I hear all the time too, I can barely afford my property taxes. Property taxes go up every single year. I'm the only one, I think, other than Steve Laurenti, that hasn't voted for a property tax increase since I've been on the council. And that's very important to me. I want to hold the line, not only for the people in Ward 4, but for everyone in Rapid City. Ward 4 is different than every other ward in Rapid City. We have more workers that work 2 and 3 jobs. We have more people on fixed incomes. We have more people that are under the poverty line. So I look at everyone across the board. I don't care if you make $100 a year or $100 million a year, I'm going to treat you the same. Anyway, thank you, Dale.
Thank you, John. And now, Helen Usera, and you have two minutes.
Thank you. I am Helen Usera, and I am running for Ward 4, and welcome to my neighborhood. I want to be a voice for my neighbors here in Ward 4 to build community, culture, and commerce. I've spent my entire career bringing people together around issues to solve and to discuss. I want to bring that skill set to the City Council as I look at the different challenges our community faces. So who am I? Yes, I'm one of those Useras you hear about in the community. I am part of the Usera clan, but I'm also a mother and a grandmother. I own my own company here in Rapid City. I serve on nonprofit boards, and I served in the United States Army for 12 years. Yes, 5 feet people can join the Army. I also am a civic leader for the Air Force Global Strike Command. I represent our Ellsworth Air Force Base at the national level. I've been a teacher and a principal, but most importantly, I live and work in Rapid City. I believe children need to be the compass of our community. We need to ensure our neighborhoods are places to raise our children, and I will advocate and support those efforts that are in the best interests of our children. I am a Usera, but I'm also Polish and Puerto Rican. But culture goes way beyond race for me. So what does our community value? Do we value our children and our elders? Do we value education? What is our quality of life? I support our local businesses. Commerce, including tourism, is important for our livelihood. Abandoned retail buildings need to be repurposed. Early voting is May 22nd and Election Day is June 6th. Please vote for Helen Userra for Ward 4. Thank you.
You can stay right there if you like. So our first question to Helen is, where do you look for wisdom and guidance in making the difficult decisions?
Thank you. So my decisions are faith-based. I was raised Catholic. I went to a Catholic elementary school, and I currently do attend church at Fountain Springs. I don't go to church because I have to. I go so that I can hear the message each week, so that I have the lessons I need to live out daily. I believe if I was a perfect Christian and I had all of the faith questions, I would be a nun like my mom named me after. However, I still lean on my faith for my answers. I remember in one church, there was a mirror in the bathroom. Etched around the mirror was, "Made in the image and likeness of God." To me, that scripture is about children. I am passionate about our future, and our future is in our children. Even when I was a principal and a child was sitting there waiting to see me because their teacher had sent them, I had to remember that that child was made in the image of God. But truth is, if we make any decisions about Rapid City, we should be looking at them like the eyes of a child. We know our infrastructure looks like today. We know what it looks like today. Do we want it to look the same when they are our age? We know the issues we have with jobs, homes, and transportation. Don't we have a responsibility to ensure their future? I'm not saying that we hand it over or that it's a free ride. We all work for what we get. However, we need to look at every citizen through the lens of made in the image and likeness of God. What would our community look like then? My moral compass is faith. My decision compass is about children. Thank you.
And now Alderman John Roberts, same question, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Dale. You know, in the real tough, difficult decisions that we make, the first thing I do is pray. And the second thing I do is I go to a very good group of people that I have that I can trust and I can talk to, which include a few ministers, people like Dale Barcher in the really dark times. And, you know, unfortunately, those are the times when you find who your friends are, you find out exactly what you're made of, and you find out where you're going in your life. You know, a few years ago, my wife and I went through one of those times, and I was going to quit the council. And through a lot of prayer and a lot of talk to my brother, who's a minister, my minister in my church, a lot of my good friends, I decided I needed to do this because this was important to me, and it kept me out of my own head from going crazy over what we were going through. So, you know, you have to have those strong people around you, those strong Christian, faith-based people around you in the good times and in the hard times. But especially in the hard times, I think that, you know, I pray constantly about the good, the bad, the ugly. You know, I pray that our roads get fixed, you know, and maybe it's working. I'm hoping it's working. You know, I pray about everything. I pray about my business, my wife that I love so much, my children that I worry about all the time, my grandchildren that I hardly ever see, you know, but you have to and you need to. And, you know, I'm lucky and I'm blessed to be where I'm at, and I'm humbled to be your city councilman. And it's been a privilege for the last 6 years, and I just hope that come June 6th, you'll re-elect me to the city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay right there. The second question to our Ward 4 candidates, simply found on the screen. What distinguishes you from your challenger?
Well, I think the number one thing is experience. I've been a city councilman for 6 years. There's a lot that you have to learn, and I remember when I first came into this job, one of the things that they said is there's a very steep learning curve, and there is. We're learning every day still. And you know, I also think that there's another thing that probably sets us apart. I know we're going to have a civic center proposal coming up here real soon. And as most of you or all of you know, I was one of the 3 that voted against the last one when it came forward, just because I didn't think the city could afford it. And I don't think this time it's going to be any better. If you look at what's going on right now, there's an event center being planned right outside of Rapid City being built. The State A basketball tournaments may go to Sioux Falls. I mean, we've got a lot of real variables in there. So I'm looking forward to that coming back, but I'm going to have my eyes open like I did last time, looking at the numbers to see if they work. But if this is a high dollar price that comes in, it's probably not going to work. So I think that's going to be one of the differences between me and my opponent. Thank you.
Thank you. And Helen, same question, 2 minutes.
Thank you. I agree with John. He is more experienced with city council. The thing that separates the two of us is my community involvement. One of the things that since the day I entered this community is I have been involved. I've been a big sister for Big Brothers Big Sisters. I've helped to build homes for Habitat in North Rapid, as well as in other areas of our community. I helped to bring 211 to our area. I testified at the state legislature in order for us to have that here. I have also worked with our church in order to start a professional group called Black Hills Leadership Development. See, our pastor saw a need in our community for our leaders to have faith in everything that they do decision-wise. And so they supported us putting together a monthly luncheon. And so for 10 months out of the year, our group meets, and we have anywhere from 50 to 100 community leaders who come to eat lunch with us and hear about how we live out our leadership. I have only been involved with the downtown for a short amount of time. However, in that short amount of time, my Leadership Rapid City class helped to start Movies Under the Stars. That is free entertainment downtown at the Main Street Square for families. They come with their picnic blankets, their pizzas, and watch a good family movie. I've also been involved with summer nights and seeing the people who I worked with at Black Hills Works dance to the DJs and the bands out there on Thursday nights has been amazing. I would be privileged to serve you on the city council, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, closing comments, and we'll begin with Helen Userra.
Thank you. I want to help build our community, our culture, and our commerce. There are so many great things happening in our community currently that I would love to see them move forward. We do have challenges in our community. You've heard it from our other candidates here tonight. You see it on a daily basis. I come to it with a different set of eyes, a fresh set of eyes. A set of eyes that have traveled internationally to build homes in Guatemala, Nicaragua, and Portugal. I've seen poverty across our nation and seen ways that we can address that. I've also been involved with the Civic Center Task Force and learning more and more about what that really is about. I would like to have the opportunity to serve the community, to bring ideas forward that are outside that box. I would appreciate your vote on June 6th. Thank you.
And now John, closing comment.
Thank you, Dale, and thanks again to the Family Heritage Alliance. I'm a humble man. I do a lot of things in North Rapid and in Rapid City that a lot of people don't know about because I don't want them to know about it. But I'll tell you one thing that I did a few years ago. A little Native American boy came up to me and he said, "I'd like to have a basketball court close to my house." 3 years later, he had one 3 blocks away. We built a park and a basketball court without any taxpayers' dollars. A lot of people don't know that happened because, like I said, I don't want you to know it happened. I'm a humble man. I do this job because I love Rapid City, I love the people, and I love what I do. And I hope on June 6th that I deserve your vote. Many of you in North Rapid know me because you see me and because I talk to you and I take care of the problems that you have. Unfortunately, we haven't got the streets fixed yet. We need the money. Civic Center is going to take that money, or at least most of it. So we need to find creative ways to finance our infrastructure. Thank you. June 6th, I hope you vote for me. Bye.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's thank our candidates from Ward 4. And now we move to Ward 5, the 5th of 5 wards, Laura Armstrong, Tony DeMauro, and Ron Sasso. Opening statement by Laura Armstrong.
Good evening. I'm Laura Armstrong. I'm new to the political arena, very new, but I'm not new to the area, and I'm certainly not new to doing public service. My entire life I was very involved with my community, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to limit it to Rapid City. I've been here for 21 years, and when I first came here, I started working at Green Tree, Conseco, Ditech. And when I was there, I utilized my position to bring hundreds of people together to do good things. We did food drives, we did coat drives, we did book drives, we did things for the Humane Society, and we also helped one another. When I became a speech pathologist, I moved to the schools. And when I was in the schools, I had one day off, and on my day off, I was in the schools being a room mom. I was also very active in the PTA, and I also did the yearbook. And I also, once a week, we would clear out a room and I would provide a little exercise program for our teachers, just for stress reasons, and they needed it. And then from the schools, I moved to the hospital, and of course we had more employees there, so then I rallied the thousands of people there, and we did things like serving at the Mission. We also did Gown Town, where we could get dresses and accessories and things like that for people that couldn't afford, or students that couldn't afford to go to prom. And then I also initiated the Souls for Souls program, which is getting used footwear to donate to people that needed shoes in other countries. So I'm also very active at Black Hills Works and at the Traumatic Brain Injury Center. And I help people get back into the communities after devastating events that have happened to them. So, and in addition to all of this, while I'm doing this, I am the MS leader, I guess, for the Black Hills chapter, and I'm active in the Humane Society, the library, and whatnot. So basically what I want to say is no matter where I am, what I do, I try to do good for our city. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Tony DeMauro. Tony.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. So my name's Tony DeMauro. A little background on me. I was born and raised here in town. I actually grew up on the west side of town in Ward 5, where I'm running, so I'm very proud to be able to serve. And I actually am a Raider, so hopefully none of the Central folks will hold that against me. Some boos there. But here's a little bit more background on me. I moved out to Boston because I wanted to finish up school. I had this dream of running a Fortune 500 company someday. And I was having a great time out in Boston. I lived 2 blocks away from Fenway Park. I saw about 30 Red Sox games a year, and I had a great six-figure salary. I was a pretty happy person out there. But my business partner called me up and said, we want to do Murphy's. Would you come back and run it? Because we've got a little bit too much going on. And I said, absolutely. And he just dropped. Couldn't believe that I was willing to do this. He's like, you do this? I said, yeah, I'm not making a difference out here. But I know I can if I come back to Rapid. And that's what I've done ever since I've come back. I kind of specialize in doing what people don't think can be done. Everything we did at Murphy's, people thought we were crazy, and it worked. So we opened a speakeasy, people thought that was crazy, and that worked. So we got even more crazy, and we bought another restaurant because I'm so passionate about our downtown and the growth and making us a destination for people to come to. So that's why I'm running. So I want to make a bigger difference and bigger change, because within the four walls of the restaurant, I think we've done a lot for downtown. We need to make bigger change now, and that's why I'm running.
Ron Sasso, opening statement.
Thank you, Dale. I'm Ron Sasso, and I'm running for City Council, Ward 5. I served on the City Council from 2011 to 2013, served with a couple of the people up here, and I'm proud of my service. During that time, I accomplished quite a bit and brought positive change to Rapid City. One of the things I'm most proud of that most people aren't aware of was that I brought forward, designed and an ordinance to improve the quality of infrastructure in the city, and also to change the process so that it protects tax dollars and developers alike, so that when a project is done, a road is completed, it's tested, and then in turn a developer can say, okay, this it went public, here's the test results, everything's good, then they can get their surety. So nobody ends up in a protracted lawsuit, which is something that has been going on for quite some time. So I'm also a realtor with Coldwell Banker, Lewis Kirkby and Hall, and a licensed professional counselor. Most importantly, I'm a Christian. I've lived in Rapid City for almost 25 years with my wife and now 3 children. The oldest is 20, youngest is 14. Why am I running? I think that's probably one of the biggest questions, and I've asked myself that. A year ago, after losing an election, I said, no, never again. I am done. I am done. And if anybody thinks that public service is about ego, after you lose an election, it's not. Definitely not. But I felt God put it on my heart. I wish you would have put it in an email so I could show it to my wife. But she has to take it that it's on my heart. And that's why I'm here. And God willing, I will serve again. Thank you.
And now we come to our first question. Tony DeMauro, you're going to be taking this. Our first question is simply, where do you look for wisdom and guidance in making those difficult decisions?
So Steve Jobs had a quote that I really live by, which is make a dent in the universe. And so every day when I wake up, I think about how big the decisions I'm making, how bold the decisions I'm making, and think about how it'll benefit others around me. Most importantly, I'm part of a group called Elevate, and our goal is to raise money to help with economic development. And one thing that's really important about that is planting trees that we may never sit under that shade. So it's being visionary and being able to see what things maybe people don't see, and opportunities to invest in our future for our kids. So it's business people like Bill Gates, who just decided he woke up one day and said he didn't want malaria to be around anymore, and he's doing it. So that's really the people I look for, the people who are big and bold, don't take no for an answer, that will get any problem figured out because they know if they put their minds to it, they'll win.
Ron Sasso, 2 minutes.
I think one of the things when it comes to important decisions is, trying to find your way. When it comes to driving, I can get lost very easily. When it comes to big decisions, I do have a moral compass, and that's one of the things that I rely on. Yes, as I said, I'm a Christian. I am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. None of us are. Sometimes we might get caught up in the belief that we're supposed to be perfect, but we're not. I pray, and a lot of times it's short prayers. Once in a while, I get that opportunity where I can have some extended, quiet time on my knees and pray. I spend a lot of time in the Bible. I reflect on things. I think about things. I've studied philosophy, but the bottom line is, as a Christian, it's my faith. If I veer off course, the Holy Spirit guides me. I believe that, I feel that, I live that. And that's something that is very important. We all deal with challenges, and a lot of times it's easy to be positive, but when you deal with very difficult challenges in your life, a lot of times the only place you can turn is to God for answers. And sometimes you don't get that email, that clear-cut answer of what you should be doing. But at the same time, He's there. He is always there. And being able to stop, take a deep breath, say a quick prayer, and be calm before you speak, before you come up with your decisions of what you're going to do, that's what's one of the most important things that I've learned. Thank you.
And Laura Armstrong.
I was born Catholic, I was raised Jewish, and I lived in Israel. I was fortunate to study religion in Israel. So I got to study Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Zoroastrianism, Buddhism. I was very blessed to have been a part of that. In addition to that spiritual side, I'm a speech pathologist by trade. I'm a scientist. And I remember one of my professors telling me, you don't have to be either or, you can be both. And you can use that to help you grow and learn. So when I look for wisdom, I look on both sides of that, but I also seek out all available and relevant resources. I have skills, I have experience, but I don't know it all. And I am humble enough to ask and research and look. So I ask my neighbors, I ask my husband, I ask friends. Perfect example, I have a set of twin teenagers. My husband's an only child, I'm an only child. I don't get the sibling rivalry kind of thing, so I go to my friends who have complex family dynamics. I go to that. From the professional aspect, I'll go to associations. I have no problem asking for help. I have no difficulty looking at other people's perspective so I can make an educated decision that is not only just best for me, but on the council that would be good just for our neighbors, our city, and otherwise. Thank you.
Now we move to question number 2, and Ron Sasso, you'll begin with this question. The question is, identify 3 leadership qualities that the City Council needs at this moment, and how do you exemplify them?
Thank you. 3 qualities. I think right now, actually, John Roberts mentioned some of the challenges that currently the city is facing with sales tax being down, significantly. There are a lot of challenges that the city is facing. I believe experience is probably one of the most important things because the learning curve on City Council is steep. It is very steep. I like quoting Dave Davis. He said it's like drinking out of a fire hose because there's so much coming at you so quickly. I also believe you need to have foresight. You have to be able to look beyond that decision that you're making that given day to see how is that going to play out, not just 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but look 20 years down the road and trying to see how will this make us better. I also believe you have to have a level of creativity. And a lot of people don't know that, but actually I am very creative. I normally don't show it on the dais, but it's in there. I'm a writer, I enjoy acting and so forth, but it's more how my brain works. And that's one of the things I feel that I'm very blessed with. I can connect dots on things. but being able to be creative to find solutions on how we move forward when we're dealing with challenges that we haven't dealt with these types of challenges, and we haven't dealt with them yet. They're coming, but we will be dealing with those in the next 6 months. And so that experience is going to be critical, because dealing with a $150 million plus budget, that's tough enough to figure out. And being able to have foresight and know what has worked, what doesn't work, making difficult decisions, looking ahead and being creative to find those solutions. Thank you.
Next, Laura Armstrong, same question.
To clarify, it says the city council needs at this very moment, the city council. I really like this city council. I think they work well together. I think that they're diverse, but they do work well together. So the three things that come to mind when I saw that question, not just for this council, but moving forward as well, I think it's important to have honesty in there. People need to be honest with themselves, why they're running, why they're serving, what they're doing truly for this area. In addition, I think it's extremely important to have the ability to compromise. We're not always going to get our way. We see how we are on a national level, and that's why I'm happy that it's a nonpartisan position. We can bring our skills and our experience to the city council so we can compromise and move this city forward. And thirdly, I think it's important that we need to cooperate with one another, not have personal agendas, to look at the bigger picture, look at the now, look at the tomorrow, look at the next week, but then also have the vision to look forward for our future, for our children, and for our city. Thank you.
And Tony, tomorrow, same question.
So I think first and foremost, and the biggest thing I bring to the table is bringing somebody to the seat that's actually got a business mindset. 90% of politicians are not business people. As a result, you end up with a lot of inefficiencies. For example, Jim Skoll, when he was on the Blue Ribbon Task Force on Education, asked, how do we fund education? What's the formula? And everyone in the room looked at him and said, we don't use a formula. And he said, well, how do you allocate it then? Nobody really knew the answer. To me, that's crazy. You're talking about millions of dollars and there's not a system or a formula to do it. Business people will get in there, see that, and figure it out. Secondly, I think you need people that are outside of the box. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is the definition of an insanity. For example, the Haven for Hope, bringing an opportunity to bring all the services for folks under one roof so that people can get help. When I was in 8th grade, I remember standing in line for government cheese. And it was 8 a.m., and it was a really cold day, and it took us about 2 hours to do this. And I got home and realized that I really didn't like evaporated milk, and asked my mom why we needed to wait in line that long just to get that. And we were really in need, and they made us work for it. I think we make it too hard on people that need help. So I think things like that we need to apply. And last, we need to use innovation, really. There's a lot of problems with City Hall, and I believe that technology can help fix some of these issues. There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't get done as fast as it can. We can apply technology, make everything work better.
Now, closing statement, we begin with Laura Armstrong.
Well, thank you all for being here. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. But we've learned a lot about one another here. And that being said, for Ward 5, I know in my heart that I am the best fit. I have a lot of skills, I have experience, I'm a problem solver. I have the time to do this, and I know it takes a tremendous amount of time. I have my own business. I would make this a priority because this is something that I want to do. This is something that I'm choosing to do, and I have the support to do this. I have the energy, I have the stamina, I have the passion and the drive to do this job. Basically, no matter where I am, I like to do good things, and I want to take it to the next level so I can do greater things. I do not have an agenda, well, except to serve my constituents as well as my city. I am here to listen, I'm here to learn, and I'm here to lead. So please vote for Laura Armstrong, Ward 5. Thank you.
Now, Tony DeMauro.
So I'd just like to close with, when I close my eyes, what I visualize for Rapid City in the future. And I best can summarize it through a story for a guest that came in to the restaurant one day. And he was visiting for a sales trip. And he said he stayed an extra day because he wanted to check out our downtown. And he looked at me and he said, I'm so glad that I did. Because he goes, your downtown's amazing. And I never would have expected that. And he said, I just came to see Mount Rushmore and I was going to go. And I thought to myself, how amazing of a community would we be if we focused on reversing that mentality entirely? What if we were so strong from a culture perspective, from everybody wanting to be here, that whether the base closes, heaven forbid, or let's say it's a down tourist season, our community is so strong that people want to be here no matter what. So that's what I want to focus on, is making us as strong as we possibly can be, and I'll dedicate every day to making that happen.
And Ron Sasso.
Thank you again for having us here. I look forward to serving again. It's something that I was proud of doing. I loved the opportunity, and it's something that, as a former leader, I've dealt with a lot of changes. And one of the things that, when you look at Rapid City, it's a wonderful city. I choose to live here. I've worked for a Fortune 500 company. I've done nonprofit business leadership. I'm in business for myself as a realtor, and I'm also a licensed professional counselor. I understand mental health issues. I've received an award for working with the homeless in the past. I'm familiar with a lot of the challenges that we face, and my goal is to help us through there. And downtown is critically important, but so is everything else. Our infrastructure is important. The Civic Center is important. Our sales tax revenue is important. Rapid City is important, and I have the experience, and I hope to serve again. Please vote Ron Sasso. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Ward 5 candidates tonight. Well, tonight we turn our attention to our school board, and two areas have school board candidates. Uncontested in Area 4 is Mike Rustler. So Mike is already primed, ready to go for the school board. Mike is in the house here tonight, and will you please welcome Mike Rustler.
Good evening. As Dale said, my name is Mike Ressler. It's my privilege to be taking a seat on the Rapid City Board of Education. I've been married for 42 years, have 2 daughters and 3 grandchildren, all living in Rapid City. I spent 31 years as a firefighter for the Rapid City Fire Department, retiring in 2010. I've lived in North Rapid, Area 4, Ward 4, since the 70s. My wife and I, both our daughters, graduated from Rapid City Central, and my grandkids are currently enrolled in Rapid City schools. My inspiration for serving on the school board comes mainly from the 3 grandchildren I mentioned, as my concerns for them are much deeper than they were for my own kids some 30 years ago. The world has changed much since then, and our culture seems to be headed away from patience and understanding, and sadly more toward division, ostracism, and persecution. Now, I've understood for some time that education is a message that we send to the future. The information, the ideals, and the moralities we teach our young people today will be manifested in their citizenship and their leadership tomorrow. As they toil through the years of schooling, one thing is certain: they will believe the narratives they are told along the way. Consequently, it's incumbent on us, their parents, their teachers, and their overseers, to offer them the very best effort that we can muster. Yes, we owe them an education that prepares them for their world to come, one in which they can contend and prosper. But in this age, where history is rewritten, science is re-explained, words are redefined, and morals are given up to individual interpretation, we owe them a lot more. A solid foundation, one based on honesty, integrity, and faithfulness to the principles of the Founding Fathers and the God who inspired them. My personal motive for serving on the school board is twofold. For one, I have a longing to serve and to give something back to the community and school system that has blessed my family for many years. The other is a strong desire to help the noble people who are already pouring their lives into our children. I know there are many others in the school system who feel as I do about the current state of our culture. I've learned over the years that one of the best uses of one's time and energy is to help others succeed. I don't think we need new programs or new initiatives as much as we need to take notice of the best efforts already in play and enthusiastically support those who have shown a heart for the good work that's so sorely needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Representing Area 4 tonight, thank you for coming. Uncontested race. And now we turn our attention to Area 5. We have two candidates in the House tonight for this school board seat, Christine Stevenson and Tony Ortanchi Weaver. And opening statement today will be brought by Christine Stevenson. Christine, you have 2 minutes.
You're all still here. I'm impressed. Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. My name is Christine Stephenson, and I'm running for School Board Area 5. This is my first foray into local politics, and it has been an incredible experience. I was born and raised in Rapid City. I'm the 4th generation Rapid Cityan, and I'm raising the 5th generation. I have a daughter who is in 1st grade at Wilson. My husband and I own a business in Rapid City, Dakota Angler and Outfitter, and I'm a pediatric physical therapist at Lifescape. So I decided to run for board for the school board. I've been working with kids for the last 9 years, and I love kids. I love Rapid City, and I believe in the transformative power of our schools. I believe good schools can transform the lives of children, and they can also transform a community. I work with kids, and over the years I've gone into homes. I've worked with families with mild disabilities and major disabilities, and lower socioeconomic, big challenges, and not so big challenges on the socioeconomic scale. But when you do work with kids, it pulls at your heartstring, and you want to help them. And I'm a compassionate person, and I really wanted to help. And it occurred to me that the best way to help kids is by creating an outstanding school district, a system where every child has a path, and every child knows it has the tools to succeed. Not all of our kids have families like I have. I have a fantastic family. Not all of our kids have that, but if we can create a school district that produces outstanding children, then the next generation, they will have outstanding families. And our whole community is going to be stronger because of that. So on June 6th, I'm running for school board. I look forward to telling you more about myself tonight. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Opening statement, Tanchi Weaver.
Thank you, Dale, and thank you everyone for staying and for being interested. Let me tell you, I've been to a lot of these events. It's a lot easier to sit out there. Over the past several years, I've been a citizen lobbyist and local activist. I advocate for children and families as well as for taxpayers on a variety of issues at the state capitol in Pierre. I'm motivated to do this because I care very much about my own children and grandchildren and what they experience in school and in life. Because every child matters, I've decided to run for a seat on the Rapid City School Board in Area 5. The education practices and trends that are adopted by public schools are important to everyone. Even if your children or grandchildren don't attend public schools, the materials that are used in public schools are often found in private schools, and many home schools use them as well. I have a saying, and some of you might even be familiar with it. It's something that my group that I lobby for, Citizens for Liberty, South Dakota Citizens for Liberty, has adopted as their own motto. And that is, I would give up my life so my children can have freedom. but I won't give up their freedom so I can have a life. And that's the way I see it. I think that we need more freedom in our schools. Our children need more freedom to be able to have their own dreams and set their own goals. I think our teachers need more freedom to innovate in their classrooms and be able to teach to the student instead of to the test. And I think that that is the bottom line. Parents need more freedom to come before the board and be taken seriously with their concerns. That, in a nutshell, is why I'm running. I think that we need to preserve the humanity in our schools. Technology is wonderful, but it should serve us. We should not serve technology. And as important as it is, we can't lose that human touch. I want our teachers to remain relevant, and I want our students to be free to grow and become independent thinkers. Thank you.
Tanchi, you can stay right there. Our first question for our school board candidates, simply, where do you look for wisdom and guidance in making the difficult decisions? And Tanchi Weaver will go first.
Well, this is a continuation of a theme this evening. I, of course, look to God because He is my creator, Jesus is my redeemer, and the Holy Spirit has called me to this race. God often calls us out of our comfort zone, and sometimes we go kicking and screaming, but the bottom line is you either tell Him yes or you tell Him no. And I can't tell Him no. I look to God, but God also puts many people in your realm, in your orbit, that are good guides, good sounding boards. I have a wonderful husband, Joel, that I've been married to for 43 years. 17 of them happy, right, honey? We're working on that 18th. He is my rock and my anchor. And I look to my family. My children are wise as well because their experiences are different from mine. But I also look to the past. I remember things that my parents told me. I remember the sacrifices that they made for me. And I try to make all of those things inform my decisions.
Christine Stephenson, and this is your 2 minutes. Same question.
Short answer, Facebook. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I do not look to Facebook when making difficult decisions. I am an extremely lucky person. I've surrounded myself, and I was born into a wonderful family. I look to my parents for wisdom daily. I look to my in-laws for wisdom weekly. In my professional life, like Laura Armstrong said, I look to the scientists that provide the research that give me best practice so that I can help my kids be the best that they can be. Now, there are decisions that you have to go within. You have to find wisdom outside of the people because people are fallible. When I have a really hard decision to make, I always go back. My mind goes back to the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. I ask, how can I be an instrument of peace? Where there is darkness, how can I bring light? Where there's sorrow, how do I bring joy? Where there's injury, how do I bring pardon? And that prayer brings me to a solution when the solution has to be mine and nobody else's.
Okay. Laura, you can stay right there, Mark. Our second question, and Christine will begin with this question, is what are the 3 qualities that the school board needs most now, and how do you exemplify them?
The first quality that comes to mind is resourcefulness. I met with Dave Yannick, who does the fiscal services. He's the assistant superintendent for fiscal services for the school district. And when I look at the numbers and I look at what's to come in our school district, we need to be resourceful. Along those lines, we need to have foresight. We need to be able to take a big picture and figure out what we need to do so that 10 years from now we are positioned appropriately to teach kids in the 21st century, to do it with limited resources, and to do it very well. The second thing is I think we do need more of a presence in our community. I also have been involved in collective impact, and I've heard over and over about the challenges that our community is facing. And at those meetings, I keep going back to the schools. Where are the schools in this? The collective impact is trying to look at long-term solutions to real problems. And we need the schools to to help solve those problems. The third thing that I really am, and it's the reason I'm running, is I'd like to create a culture of excellence in our schools. I would like for every single person who works in that district, everybody, to believe in their heart that every child is capable of learning, and to accept nothing less than that. I don't want to hear about poor kids. I don't want to hear about transitory kids. I want to hear about our kids and how they're doing better.
And same question, Tanchi Weaver.
Okay, one of the qualities that I think that is missing, or at least rare, is an openness. An openness to the community, an openness to parents, a receptiveness to welcome people that come with suggestions that are expressing concerns. I think that openness and responsiveness, okay, that's two, are very much needed, because there are if anybody watches school board meetings, there are many people, and I've been one of them, that have come before the board with a concern and have really not been responded to. There's no outreach to people who bring concerns to the board, especially if it's something that makes them a little uncomfortable. I think the board needs courage. I think they need courage to question some of the things that they are doing. I think they need to have also a great respect. So that would be another one. You need to respect the taxpayer, the people that are paying the bill, and respect those who express something that may not be popular. One of the words that was not allowed to come up during the Blue Ribbon Task Force was Common Core. Now, Common Core it's kind of become an umbrella term for all education reforms, that as we've come to know them over the past several years. Those reforms are sweeping, and I think that courage is required to question them, because we are told we have local control, and I think as things change over the next few years, we are going to see that local control return. And so we should have an open mind and an open door to those who want to be part of what our district looks like.
You can stay right there. And now closing statements, and Tanchi Weaver, we'll begin with you.
Okay, well, I didn't tell you much about my my past or my history, other than my activity, but I am the first generation on my father's side to grow up in the United States. And that's why freedom is so important to me. I have family that grew up under communism, and my cousins are all very well educated, but they're not very happy because they did not get to choose their life's work, and they did not get to pursue their own dreams. They were told where they would fit in a planned economy. But my grandparents came to this country at the turn of the last century, and my father was orphaned at the age of 4 due to the pandemic in 1918. Much has changed in this country since my grandparents came here more than a century ago, but one thing remains the same. Every generation wants a better life and a better future for their children and grandchildren. I want all children to be able to blossom and thrive and succeed on their own terms. I believe that a quality education is affordable, and I believe our community wants to provide that for the children here. Schools are important because children are important. And I think when children believe in themselves, and they will become invested in their own education. And I think it's time to partner with parents to see that that happens. Thank you.
Now, closing statement by Christine Stephenson.
About 20 years ago, when I was still in high school, Father Bill Zandri taught me that the word compassion means with feeling. It means feeling, trying to get an understanding of what everybody that's involved in a decision, where they're coming from, what their perspectives are. And I use that as a guiding principle in my life. I wouldn't be successful as a physical therapist, and especially as a pediatric physical therapist, if I couldn't look at a situation and see all perspectives and try to find a solution. I am so excited to be on the Rapid City School Board. This is a job that's made for me. I know it, and I don't think it's going to be easy. And I will need all of you. I will need you to tell me how you're feeling. I will need you to be in our schools. If we create when we create a volunteer program, we need you. But we can do this. And I would appreciate your vote. I'd appreciate you helping me spread the word about why this matters. And I look forward to hearing more from you all in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our time for our school board candidates as well. We've got two great ones seated up here. Please thank them as they make their way back to your seats. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you'll turn your attention toward the screen tonight, we thank you for coming tonight and for being a part of our candidate forum. We want to encourage you to simply stay informed. Remember, the last day to register to vote for the Tuesday, June 6th municipal election here in Rapid City is May 22nd. So be informed about your vote. Pray about your vote, and then if you desire to vote early voting begins on May 22nd. And then will you encourage a friend to go to the polls with you? It's been an honor to be in the house with you tonight. Have a nice evening, everyone.